Hey, True Believers, Englentine here with another batch of independent comic book reviews. That's right. If you keep saying, hey, I want good comics, where can I find good comics? Hey, I'm here to help. Drop Marvel. Look, they've got like 2, maybe 3 good books at best. So, I'm here to do some reviews, help you find what's good, help you avoid what's bad, because, yeah, I've got a couple of bad reviews as well. So, kick back. Relax, check these out. Maybe you'll find something worth looking at. The 1-star books are the worst of the worst, the ones you should definitely avoid. The Beautiful Death #1. Matthew Bablet from what is it? Statics Press? So, sometimes you run into a book that seems unfinished, much like this cover here. No color to it. You've got characters standing around. You have no idea why they're standing around. Yeah, bug images. You find out that apparently the world went to hell because of some sort of bug invasion. But are they mutants or are they aliens? That's a question posted. The first third of this book is following a character around while the writer tells us a story he heard once. And yet this character has nothing to do with anything. This is the issue. This is the first issue. You need to introduce us to your world. Every page needs to provide some sort of information, whether it tells us about the world around the characters you want us to be involved with or the characters themselves. By the time we get to the characters he wants us to follow, a third of the book is out of the way. And then we are not told anything of who they are or why they're doing what they're doing. This book is a premise without a story. Fujitsu #1. So occasionally a book comes out where you look at it and you're like, hey, I want to like that. I want to like this book. And so you pick it up, you open it, you realize the art is just not good. And then you read it, because sometimes a good story can cover for bad art. But no, the art doesn't make it either. So Fujitsu is the story of a 123-year-old kung fu boy who put himself in isolation over a girl and is resurrected, and his enemies find out and send an assassin that looks like James Dean and alludes to the fact that maybe he is. It's a charmless book. It's flat. There's actually a page that looks right out of The Last Airbender, which it kind of feels like they're trying to do a different version of it. In the end, I could not imagine really wanting to continue the story. It was a hard read. I wanted to put this book down many times, and by the end of it, I was just so disinterested. I couldn't care less. I was a big fan of I am a big fan of Big Trouble in Little China. So you give me a comic book called Old Man Jack, alrighty, I'll see it, because, hey, I would take a 70-year-old Kurt Russell Big Trouble in Little China sequel right now. I think it would be fun. He's still a good actor. He can still move around. Let's get that done. Sounds good to me. All right, then. So pick up the comic, which has the budget to do anything, which can age him any way. You could have any story. And what do? They mistake the character for Ash Williams. Ash Williams, Jack Burton, 2 different characters. Not the same, yet here you go. They write them exactly the same. And thankfully, though, they cover up this with a bad story and bad art. Really bad art. So there is just not one thing going for this book except for name recognition. The 2-star books are merely bad with some saving grace keeping them from being truly horrible. Gasolina #1. So this is a book about Mexico. It's a book about the drug trade. It's a book about having to deal with people you didn't want to deal with, yet finding yourself in a bizarre situation. And it's a book about monsters and aliens. And that's part of the problem. It really wants to be a whole bunch of things while not really being about anything. There is so much movement going around, so much dialogue, so much violence, yet there's not a clear narrative that's connecting all of it. I thought this would be a pretty decent story, and it started off with an intriguing mystery. Some guys being brought in, they think they're part of the drug violence, but hey, they've been bitten, it looks like. So okay, where's that going? Nowhere. This book tries to do so much that it ends up doing absolutely nothing. The Astonisher #1 from Catalyst Comics. All right, so pick this up. #1 issue. Looking forward to it. Always like a new series. You never know how it's going to go. Decent cover. I like the whole setup. It really lets you know who it's from. I'm trying to think of good things to say about this book because beyond that cover and their logo, there's not much good to say. Now, that would be different if this were issue 10 or 11 and you read 1 through 9 or 1 through 10. But as a #1 issue, this fails greatly. It really expects you to have read whatever else Catalyst Comics has done. They do Magus, and this continues right from there and does not let you in. There is nothing here to help you out, to let you know who is who, to let you know what has happened. It does set up like, hey, I've got rocks in my head, and then an alien attacks, and you are treated to an introduction to characters. In all honesty, you don't want to get to know. So, yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I wish I could say more about this #1 issue. Like I said, it should be exciting, but unfortunately, it's a fail. Trump versus Time Lincoln #1, and I hope it's a one-shot. I definitely didn't like it enough to have a second one. This is, wow, just a miss. It really is just a miss. Now, obviously, with the face mask, you get right away that this is going to be a play off of Mad Max, but it actually doesn't go that way. And it's got some good ideas in it, so it's not 100% bad, but it tries to be a parody, but it doesn't parody. It just flat out says, okay, you suck. And everybody who voted for Trump sucks. And they're stupid. You know, it has such... I don't mind getting ripped into. I like 30 Rock and how Alec Baldwin did it. But this is just... Instead of writing a good adventure and a good parody, it just falls flat. It's boring, and it's not even witty. The Shadow #2. So, yes, the first issue of this book got a lot of flack because used something along the lines of white privilege or something like that, which should never be in the Shadow's vocabulary. The Shadow is a product of his time. Even in this book, he comes from the 30s. Or at least that's what they're alluding to. So that whole social justice bit should never enter his mouth. So I've figured, okay, I'm used to seeing stuff I don't agree with and still enjoying somewhat. I started to read the second because I'm a huge fan of The Shadow. And there are parts of this book that are thoroughly entertaining, and then halfway through it goes downhill. And I have to admit, I only made 3/4 of the way through before I was like, I'm done. I can't finish. It's not written very well. It's boring as hell. And I love The Shadow and Green Hornet and Phantom and all those cool Golden Age heroes. But they are just tanking with this series. I would love to give this a good review. I would love to give this a good review because of how much of a fan I am of the character. But unfortunately, this is not the series to pick up if you want to try them out. The 3-star books are merely average. You might like them, you might hate them. For us, it just didn't move the needle. A Tomahawk Zero. So, this is an interesting book because I want to say it's got all the earmarks, of a bad book, but it's not bad. It's not good, but I can see where it could be. First of all, it's visually interesting. It really is. They do create an interesting looking world here, almost Jack Kirby-esque. And I'm not saying like, you know, it's as good as, but it's got that kind of weird sci-fi look to it. And I'm pretty sure it came off of somebody's tattoo design because the story's chapters are broken up with tattoo advertisements. So it kind of feels that way. In the end, it really comes off as if Gru the Wanderer was written to be a serious book rather than the comedy it already is. The Spirit, the Corpse Makers. The Spirit, the Corpse Makers. Sounds almost like a gum. Anyway, the spirit's captured. I mean, this is like a really, really simple story. It does give you a little bit of a setup in the story so far. He has to go to a crematorium. There he gets captured, and he is tortured until somebody comes along and saves him. It's really kind of sparse on the story, though. I mean, this particular page right here is possibly the most condensed story, because otherwise it'll be like, hey, and then I had to break into the crematorium, and that's like one whole page rather than just like, hey, I'm entering the window of, you know, so there is a lot of wasted space. It does look good, though. It's got great colors to it. I mean, that's something. I love it when you notice little bits like that, and this is a very good-looking book, but as far as story, it's kind of average. Dan Dare #1. It's nice to see a sci-fi book. And this is a science fiction book, and it does use science fiction to tell a tale about modern problems, if you want to call them that. Or at least in this case, modern politics. Unfortunately, it is nowhere near subtle. It isn't. But what I think is funny is there's a guy, they say he rigged the election, brainwashed people to vote for him. Yeah, see where this is going? Yet what ends up happening is they take him and then they brainwash him so that he acts like they want him to act. So they act and call everybody who followed him brainwashed, and they act as if he's the evil for brainwashing, but they do exactly the same thing. So it's a morality tale where no one has no morals. It's not that you're against the brainwashing, it's just that you need people to be brainwashed a certain way. And that's the message of Dan Dare #1. Take that how you will. Bartman, Spectacular Super Secret Saga #1. So it's the future. And Bartman is now in his darkest form because he had a split with Houseboy. And he's going after an old foe named Numero Uno, who, when he first saw him as a kid, was stealing all of the firsts of Springfield, and now he is stealing all of the lasts. And it is incredibly forced. I mean, yeah, it's entertaining and enjoyable to a certain point, and I love the ending and the twist, but it's a book that's really trying to be funny. I can't imagine this ever going to... It's like watching modern day Simpsons and hoping you are watching older Simpsons. It's just that kind of humor. It's not horrible, but dang, it just doesn't live up. Superb #3. Now, I've been enjoying this series from Catalyst Comics. I do have to say, though, they made one of the main characters have Down syndrome, yet there seems to be no downside to Down syndrome, so why make them with Down syndrome at all? Just saying. Doesn't seem like there's anything to do. Anyway, this whole storyline is that there was an incident with some supers in the past, so now there's this company that's cracked down on them to keep them out of this town, and kids with superpowers have been disappearing. So the kid with Down syndrome is trying to find out what's really going on in that particular security system that's stealing kids. It's fun and it's entertaining. It's okay art. The art isn't the greatest in the world, but still it's an entertaining story. And one that I particularly have been having a good time keeping up with. The 4-star books are good. These are the stories in comics we can actually recommend. The Infinite Loop #1. So I have said a couple of times that, you know, something's a fast read, something's really easy, it's a premise without a story, and then you get to something like Infinite Loop. Infinite Loop in no way, shape, or form is an easy read. There's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of description, it really gets you into the world, and I am not saying this is a bad thing, it's a good thing. This is a good book. But it is not an easy book to read in the way that you do have to pay attention to what's going on. There's a lot of ideas here, and they flesh those things out. If there's anything actually I would say is a criticism, it would be that the pacing is off. You have moments of the sparse dialogue, moments of action, and then all of a sudden, boom, you hit a wall filled with description and dialogue. And that kind of slows down everything in the middle, and then it continues and picks up again. So it really does just, like I said, it just hits a wall. It's not very well paced as far as spreading out the amount of information you have to get. I still recommend the book, but be cautious. This is a deep read. Adam Green's Hatchet #1. Alrighty, so this is a comic. Seriously, if you've seen the movie, you've read the comic book, man. I mean, it is just the movie put to book. It's not the same story. It's not the same plot and everything, if you want to say these things have plot. But point being is, what you get in the movie is what you get in the comic. And it is, in my opinion, pure gold. It's just leave your brains at the door. Have fun with the gore and the stupidity. It's got the boobs. It's got the blood, everything about it. It is not going to win any Eisner or, in our case, Spirit Awards, I think. But if you're old enough and you're into this kind of thing, check it out, because it definitely does the job it was hired to do. Half Past Danger 2. So I have to say I was hypnotized. It has to be, because immediately I was into this book, and I can only imagine it's because right away I saw someone in a leather jacket, a brown-haired someone in a leather jacket, surrounded by Nazis during World War II, and the brain just went to Indiana Jones' adventure, and I was completely sucked into the story. Absolutely. I mean, this is a fun book. That's the best way to put it. Yeah, it's weak on story, but it's a good adventure. And it does take time to get to know the characters. If there's anything I would say bad about it, the main character is Irish, and so you have him using slang, like he cusses and he says "fick," you know, because they're trying to get the Irish accent, but that's the only word they do it to, so it doesn't always fit. But that's really kind of a nit to pick. Overall, entertaining, fun, definitely worth the money. Killer Instinct #1. So this is weird because it starts off, obviously something's gone on beforehand. There's a story before this book that I have not read, yet it does the proper thing. It catches the reader right on up. It devotes a couple of pages to tell you the story so far, so when this particular story kicks in, you're all caught up, you know what's happening, and go. And it works. It's simple. You know, it's not amazing, but it's fun. The art is good. It's like a very competent book. There's nothing excellent about it. There's nothing that's going to, like, you know, the Watchmen do not have to worry about this book, but it definitely does the job it sets out to do. And based on that by itself, it ends up pretty much being a decent read. So, you know, I can recommend this one. The Dark Ark #1. So this book supposes that if God were to have created a ark or an ark for humanity, for the animals, for all that's good, then maybe Satan had created an ark for the unnatural world. And on that ark, they would need humans for prey, to breed for prey. So not only do you have things like vampires, gorgons, stuff like that, you also have imprisoned humans. And this is a pretty decent premise. This is one of those things that you go, wow, why hasn't this been thought of before? The art is good. I mean, granted, sometimes the faces are a little bit weird on the humans, on the regular humans. But overall, everything works just fine. It is a solid book. It's not amazing, but it is pretty good. Sheena, Queen of the Jungle #1. Entertaining. It is. It's an entertaining book. You got to give it that much. Now, my gosh, they have a lot of covers for this. I'm not going to, I mean, I could actually spend a whole video talking about it because, damn, look at them all. This one actually got nominated for a Spirit Award. Anyway, it is an entertaining book. It's actually well written. I said before that, you know, you want the who, the what, the why, the where, and all that kind of answered in a first issue. There was a 0 issue that kind of teased it all. But that was more of a silent adventure, and this actually has dialogue. It has descriptive dialogue as well as some narration, but it tells you everybody you need to know and everything that they're doing. It's fun. It's well drawn, although there are a couple of poses, and my adult brain is just sitting here watching her jump on trees going, God dang, that would hurt the feet. But, you know, suspend your disbelief for a while, and you can have a good time for your money. I've been singing the prayers. I've been singing the praises of Hero Killers since issue 1. This is issue 5. It's the end of the story. Obviously, I'm not going to recommend you pick up this issue if you haven't picked up the others, but I'm sure there will be a trade, or if you can find the entire series, definitely pick it up. It's about a couple of sidekicks that are tired of being sidekicks. They want to be true heroes, and so they accidentally end up killing their heroes. And as they're trying to make amends for it, they end up just killing more heroes and more of their friends and finding themselves in a deeper and deeper pit. Well, this is the climax of it. It's a ton of fun. Chaos ensues. There's humor. There's action, drama even. It gets to just a point of ridiculousness. I mean, it's thoroughly entertaining, but it is thoroughly ridiculous all at the same time. The Last Hunt #1 is, wow, pretty darn good, actually. It starts off, you meet a crew on a ship. It's very alien-esque, the way it starts off, as a matter of fact. It takes its time to really let you get to know the characters. Now, obviously, this is a first issue of trade paperback. They do front load it with the characterization, but since it's ultimately a horror novel, it is just so you get to know the characters, so when they start picking them off, you actually feel something for them, and that's why they front load it. But it's also good because it really pays attention to the story as well as the horror sci-fi elements. The Earth is no longer habitable. This crew lands on it to do some tests, finds another crew, brings them on their ship, and killing begins. So that's basically the story, and it works. It's a good book. It's a good horror story. It's definitely a monster/haunted house kind of thing. But if you like scary comic books, check it out. Clue #4. Now, I've sung the praises for 3 issues. I'm going to sing it for 2 more, I'm sure. And this one, it's just a ton of fun. I said before, Clue is a combination of the movie plus new story. It's got the same kind of humor as the 1980s classic, and it's got a murder mystery. And in this one, something happens that made me go, holy Toledo, I'm kind of surprised they did that. And that's always nice when you do not see something coming in a story and they deliver on it, is always a good thing. Now, they say you can follow along with the clues to guess who the big killer is, but then this issue kind of changed the rules on us. So it's not as predictable as you may have thought if you've been reading along for the first 2 issues. So I don't know. Pretty good book. Can't wait to see what happens next. War Mother #2. So what can I say about Valiant's War Mother? One, that I have people watching these that really, really want me to review Valiant. And 2, this is really a book you should be picking up. It is very good. Seriously. I have read some decent Valiant comics. This one's outside the box. This isn't, their Valiant comic superhero world, but it is every bit a great story with decent art. I mean, this is just a strong book. It's basically about a woman who's been genetically modified to take care of this town in a post-apocalyptic world, of course. Can't have a comic book without a post-apocalyptic world. And she is defending against some machines. So she's captured. Her gun is captured, who's sentient. It's just a very clever, very fun, well-written, and well-drawn story. Check it out. And the 5-star books are the best of the best, the ones we highly recommend for the week. Bloodshot Salvation #1, so far so good. Gotta say that. I love a serious first issue that answers all the W questions. Who, what, where, when, and why. This obviously continues off of another story, but immediately catches you up on everything and then tells you the environment they're living in, tells you why things are happening, tells you what is happening, tells you who it's happening to and who all the players are. This is a very tight script. I enjoy this kind of thing so much because of how little you actually see it. So when you finally do get a hold of a book that really does dot all the I's and cross all the T's, you have to enjoy it. This has action in it, but it's more of a family drama than an action film. It's like a drama with good action in it. It's definitely one of the stronger books I've read recently and can highly recommend it. Mighty Mouse #4. So, come on, guys. It's Mighty Mouse. This is so much fun. It really is. And I've been singing the praises of this series since issue #1. So here we go. Mighty Mouse has come to our world. Well, in the last issue, so have the cartoon alien cats that were attacking his world. And now they're attacking ours. And, of course, the police and the army can't stop them because they're freaking cartoons. So, here I come to save the day. And Mighty Mouse just, comes to save the day. All the while, the cops are trying to find out exactly what's going on. They go to the young boy, what's his name, Billy or something? I forgot, I'm sorry. And get an idea. Hey, let's fight him with cartoons. It is just thoroughly enjoyable. My goodness gracious. This is why we read comics. It's entertaining, it's fun, it's funny at times, and they actually have a credible threat. Seriously, this is more fun with comics than you would have had in a long, long time. Definitely better than anything Marvel's producing. Well, okay, maybe not Iron Fist, but it's different. And still damn good. So, there you go, true believers. 24 reviews of independent comics. And I think that many comic books are called a big-ass batch. I think that's a scientific term. Anyway, just goes to show. We have a lot of people saying, oh, I want good comics. I want good comics. As you can see, there's a lot out there. And yeah, I did steer you or try to steer you away from the ones I thought were bad. Of course, it's up to you. But there's no need to sit around going, why can't Spider-Man be good? Well, and we could do that, but at least enjoy what is good. Like they said, put your money where your mouth is. And that's what I was trying to do with these videos, these independent comic book videos. So what did you think? Have you read any of these? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did any of them make you go, wow, okay, I saw that on the shelf. I didn't pick it up. Maybe I'll give it a try next time I go into the comic shop. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Also, if you like these videos, you know the drill. Click like, share, of course. Sharing is incredibly important. That gets the word out about the channel and everything, and I appreciate that. And if you haven't done it already, click subscribe, the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Cool things happen around here like big-ass independent comic book review videos. Also, if you do like our videos and you don't mind helping out, go over to Patreon, go over to VIDME. There's a tip jar at VIDME if you don't want like a monthly thing. And drop $1 in the till. Help us keep the lights on. Help us keep making these videos. This is our only job, so this is how we make our living. We definitely appreciate everybody who's already done that, and anybody who's actually thinking about that. And to everyone, all the true believers who have come to save the day, we thank you all very, very much for watching.
Save the day. That means that Mighty Mouse is on the way.